Before we moved out of Los Angeles, Dan suggested another pilgrimage for us. He said he would love to go backpacking through Europe with me. Initially, I dismissed this as merely a fun idea, but Dan kept talking about it as a real possibility. And so in the spring of 2009, we met up in Rome with another friend and traveled to Florence, Genoa, Nice, Monaco, Lyon, and Paris. Now, Dan knew how to plan an excellent trip. In fact, one of the best days of my life was a day planned by Dan Strenge. We spent the morning at the Chagall Museum in Nice, ate fresh croissants in a park overlooking the Mediterranean, took a bus trip to a beautiful hillside town called Ez, where Bono takes his vacations, hiked down a trail that Friedrich Nietzsche used to hike, gambled at the Monte Carlo in Monaco, where Dan won about 100 euros, and then ate a fantastic salmon dinner, followed by drinks that were paid for by the lucky winner. He knew how to plan a day. And yet he also knew that a good traveler has no fixed plans. He loved the thrill of getting lost, which I always seem to be very good at. And he was willing to chuck his plans in order to accommodate others, like me. So when I wanted to change our travel itinerary in order to visit a monastery in France, Dan said, "Let's do it," and accompanied me on the long detour while our friends stayed in Lyon. Our time together in Taizé was unforgettable. We met young people from around the world with whom we worshipped and even enjoyed a private consultation with one of the monks. Our time in Taizé and all the time we spent together as fellow pilgrims will always remain with me as sacred time. Because of his openness, our voyages sometimes seemed to be guided by a benevolent external force that would lead us to beautiful hot springs, private sushi dinners, Buddhist festivals, windy sand dunes, exquisite beaches, and the most bizarre redwood trees, which Dan would always admire with awe and wonder. And the sun happened to smile on us on the day we visited Point Reyes, which we found out later is the second foggiest place on the North American continent. To me, that benevolent spirit still guides us and holds us in our voyages today as fellow pilgrims. Another translation of Lao Tzu's saying is, "One may move so well that a footprint never shows." Although Dan is no longer leaving a physical footprint, to me he is still moving well as a good traveler and fellow pilgrim, deeper into the heart of love. And in the words of Walt Whitman, I say to Dan Strenge, "Now, voyager, sail thou forth to seek and find. Dearest comrade, we must separate for a while. So long, and I hope we shall meet again. Our life is closed, our life begins. Joy, shipmate, joy."